What's going on, everyone? A Monday morning edition of BYP. As always, I'm your host, Rich Quinones. Appreciate everyone keeping us locked in. We had to go with the extra coffee today because it was a very long week, and hope everyone had a good Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. As we spoke to a little bit yesterday, kind of recapping the Week 16 games. Don't forget, as always, connect with us on social media at Rich Q on Q, Twitter, IG. Connect with me on Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course the YouTube channel. Appreciate all the views, the comments, the engagement. You guys are fantastic. So I'm not going to go too deep in the playoff scenario because we'll update that later on in the afternoon when we drop a new show, and then later tonight. Really busy week with some guests, and we're working on a couple cool things, unique things I think you guys will appreciate. But yesterday, I mean, can the games have been any worse? Let's be honest. These games yesterday were not entertaining at all. We'll cap off Week 16, Chargers and the Colts tonight. But I want to just give you my thoughts on the three games from yesterday, and then we'll go a little more deeper, as I mentioned, later on in the day. So you had Green Bay over Miami 26-20. This is a game that the Miami Dolphins led 20-13 at the half. They were just riddled with mistakes. Listen, I'm a Tua fan. I like Tua. He did not play particularly well, especially late in that game. He had a couple long passes. I mean, I think he had 240 yards at the half and finished with 310. Go figure. But the mistakes, just some of these inexplicable throws. I have no idea where the hell he was throwing the ball late. 3 turnovers. Sometimes you can live with that. You're not going to win a lot of games, but then to get 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter, to get 3 turnovers in successive series is unheard of. And listen, Miami started off, they had these streaks, 3-0, then 0-4, then 3-0, and then they've dropped a couple more right now. So they are 8-7. Green Bay 7-8. And I know everyone's getting so excited. Can't wait to get Green Bay back in the playoffs. Yeah, so they can get waxed probably by San Francisco. Enough of that nonsense. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't want Green Bay. I'm not. Green Bay doesn't scare me. They don't. Yeah, you still have Aaron Rodgers, but no, it's the same thing with Tampa Bay. I mean, last night you saw they barely were able to get through Arizona 19-16. They didn't cover the number. They were 7.5 point favorites in that one. The total, you didn't have to worry about the total, was 42. So right there, the under for you. So Brady, offensively, this team's got major issues. Arizona is basically doing with a backup in McSorley, who made a couple plays, but you knew late in that game if they got into overtime, Brady and company would find a way. They got the field goal in the extra session, 19-16. So Tampa, Carolina next week. Tampa wins. They win the South. I mean, it's just been an ugly season for Tampa Bay. Which was really interesting is road teams 2-1, home teams 2-1 ATS, and the under was 2-1 yesterday. And that's kind of where we lead to the third game, which I will get into this later on today. The Rams just whitewashed the Denver Broncos 51-14. Explain to me again how the Rams were 3.5 point home dogs in this one. 36.5 was the total. They blew past that as well. They led 17-3 before you sat down and had a cup of coffee or a hot toddy, and then 31-6 at the half. Let me give you a Baker Mayfield's numbers. He was outstanding, 24 of 28, 230, 2 touchdowns. I said this, and they also ran the ball very well. I mean, we talked a little bit about Akers and the issues he had. 23 totes, a $118, 3 touchdowns for you fantasy and prop bettors out there. So, hey, if you put a little coin in your pocket, best for you, right? Congrats on that. I think McVay brought Baker in because they believe he's a reclamation project and they can fix him. And we don't know what's going to happen with Matthew Stafford going forward. But the story of yesterday for the Bronco ball, right, or whatever it is, round up, ride up, Bronco up, Russell Wilson, horrible. 15-27, 214, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. He was sacked, I believe, 6 times en route to a 51-14 shellacking. That team, look, we know that team's been cooked. I don't know if you're going to sit here and say, get rid of the head coach right now. What's the benefit with a couple games left? I think when you get smoked like that, national stage on the holiday, you're not even competitive. To me, heads will roll. You might be saying, well, wait a second, Q, finish it out. What are you going to do in an interim head coach? You bring in a different coordinator and you run it back with Russ. That team's got a lot of major problems and issues, and I want to get into it later on this afternoon. As I mentioned, you got the Chargers and the Colts tonight. I like the Chargers. The Colts are going to tote out Foles. He'll get to start next Sunday for the Giants. If the Giants beat the Colts, the Giants will clinch a playoff spot. So the NFL right now, as it stands, and this is something, again, we'll dive into a little more later on in the afternoon, it is wide open, right? Because it's the teams that can weather the storm, the teams that can fight through injuries, the teams that can get injured player backs, and it's the teams that are playing the best football at this time, right? It doesn't matter if you're playing good football. It's when are you playing good football? And we're starting to see it. Cincinnati's coming on a little bit. San Francisco's coming on a little bit. Dallas all of a sudden rebounded nicely with the big win against the Philadelphia Eagles. So there's a lot of teams that we can kind of get into where we say, hey, these are going to be the scary teams. If they get in, I'm going to reserve judgment maybe in the middle of the week when I kind of let everything kind of sit and marinate. I'll have a better understanding, just like you guys will. But we know one thing's for certain. Once you get in, you never know exactly what's going to happen. So as I said, I want to get into a little more what's going on in Denver later on in the afternoon. We've got a show planned for later on. We got some good guests this week. We're working on a couple of different elements of the show. Plus 27 and Q will be back in the saddle with the big man, Brandon Jacobs, two-time Super Bowl champ, most likely Tuesday and Wednesday. And we got a new show dropping too on our YouTube channel, Rich Quinones. So we'll give you some news on that later on in the week. But as I said, I always appreciate the comments, the likes. Don't really ask much. If you guys want to subscribe and share, that's awesome. We appreciate it. The more the better, but we've enjoyed it. You can tweet at me at RichQonQ. You can hashtag BYP. Also on Facebook, also on IG, hook up LinkedIn Wise, connect, not a problem with that. So with that being said, have a good Monday morning. We got to refill this sucker out. We got a lot of stuff to do today. We'll talk to you later on in the afternoon and then later on tonight, right back on the YouTube channel, Rich Q on Q. As always, have a good Monday. Enjoy it. And we'll talk to you soon.